Hey, welcome to my podcast. I'm Manina, and you are listening to an episode of Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger podcast. All right, thanks guys for coming back to Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger podcast. I want to introduce my guest today, Cherie Johnson. She's an actress, a writer for shows, producer, and an author. Cherie, thank you for coming and joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited. I'm beyond excited. So this is something that I started I started my YouTube channel in 2014. We spoke a very little bit. I started my YouTube channel, so a little background about me, so that you have it, Cherie. I started in 2014. I had a big loss in my life in 2011. So I had been dating someone. I got pregnant. It was twins. So I said to myself, hey, I'm 26. I can handle this. I've been working for modeling agencies since I was like 22 or something. I'm still working for one now, in the background, in the accounting office. So I was like, I'm stable, I'm able, I'll do it. And maybe things will work out with us, maybe not, it's fine. But when I got to 18 weeks, in 6 days, my body just went into labor. Nothing was wrong with the children. My body just went into labor. And so, of course, they were too small. They were not developed enough to make it.
Right.
I found myself in the hospital calling this man all of the night long. I was in labor for 8 hours. I had them naturally, so I was in labor for 8 hours. And I was calling this man all of the night, and he did not answer until literally in the morning time. I called him. He finally answered, and I was like, I'm in the hospital. I'm losing the babies. And he's like, I can't come because that's too much for me to handle. Oh, okay. So the last thing I said to him was, if you don't come, that's it. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about me. You don't know me. Don't look at me. Don't breathe when you see me. None of that, right? Hung up the phone, and my water broke. I had my children in it, and they didn't make it. But I had to say to myself, what are you doing? Who are you? What are you standing for? What are you looking for out of life? Because this is not who you were raised to be. This is not how you saw your life. Or this is not the things that you wanted for yourself. And so when I had to really just, reevaluate and learn how to love myself in a way that I hadn't before. I felt I'm a good girl, so people will be good to me. But I hadn't created boundaries yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, went a couple more years. I mourned my children, and I healed. I just took a while to heal. I took about 3 years, and then I said, you know what? I'm going to start a YouTube channel. It was starting to get really, really big on YouTube and, the hair stuff. And then I started seeing people put family vlogs up and different stories they would tell. And I looked up one day, loss, how to handle losing children. And I saw so many women had put up videos, and I was like, I'm going to do the same, because if I watch one of these videos and they really help me, I know if I put up my story, somebody's going to see it and really help me. And to this day, people watch my video and they'll comment, I just lost my baby yesterday, and you really helped me.
Wow.
With telling your story, to this day, and that was in 2014. So I started that, and I also decided to start something called Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger, where, in the future I would love to have an enterprise, and I'll be able to help women, especially younger women, to really see their value and just learn self-love. And it's okay if you don't have it and you're in your 20s and all of those things. Like you're going to learn it as long as you attach yourself to the right people and you're in the
Absolutely.
right, in the midst of the right people. So that's where I was. That's how this started. And a few years back, I was like, I want to do a podcast. Uh, but I was working hard. I always have a second job. I work really, really hard, just trying to get myself to a place where I want to be. Um, and ever since that time, 2011, I've been single, so I had the time to do all those things. So, but I said to myself, I really want to start a podcast, and I finally started it. I have been doing a few podcasts now, but I went on YouTube and I caught a Anthony O'Neill podcast, and you were
Yes.
on that. Yes, you
Yes.
were on that Anthony O'Neill podcast, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna reach out to her. I never ever. I am like a super introvert. I am never. I don't even talk. I don't talk to strangers. Like that is in my mind. I'm from Harlem, New York, so we do not talk to people we don't know unless they live on our block. Like I don't
Right.
talk to anybody. So I don't know what it was, but it was your spirit. It was your. You seem very open, and I didn't expect anything. I just was like, well, let me reach out to her because she seems like my kind of gal. So
Well,
that's how we
well,
ended up here.
if it makes you feel better, I'm an East Coast girl myself. I'm from Pittsburgh,
Oh,
Pennsylvania. It ain't
all
Harlem,
right.
but we like you. We don't talk to people
Oh, yeah.
unless
Well,
you
you
live
know
on
what
the
it is.
block. So I
That's
feel you.
right. You know what it is. Right. 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 So,
Absolutely.
but that also builds your strength and that builds your understanding that, it's okay. It's okay to hear no, but it's also okay to just reach out. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's a part of my growth. That's a part of my story. That's why I'm here, and that's why I wanted you here because the things you spoke about on the Anthony O'Neill podcast, and also I watched some of your podcasts too. I just felt like, yeah, I really want to talk to her. I feel like what she has to offer is something that people need to hear, and I'd be glad if you could share, a little bit of your story, if you could.
Absolutely. Well, let me first say it's okay to hear no. I've heard no way more than I've ever heard yes. I've been
Mhm.
an actress for 38 years. They say you only get one job out of 100 auditions. So the jobs that you guys have seen me do, there's like 100 auditions in between each of them where somebody told me no. And my uncle told me something when I was really little. I was like 6 or 7 years old, and he said, no does not necessarily mean no. Sometimes it means not right now. So that's
Right.
always stuck in my head. If somebody tells me no, let me figure out a way to either twist my proposal to make them say yes, or to go back
Right.
and reevaluate what I didn't sell right the first time so I can resell it, whether it be, myself, my personality, whatever it is. But because as an actress, I am my brand. So sometimes it was my hair, sometimes it was my clothes, sometimes it was my delivery. I go back and I reevaluate myself and I resell myself. Somebody's going to
Right.
say yes.
Right.
And I don't mean in a human trafficking kind of way for the other
No.
people that are out there listening that are going to try to twist my words. But as far as growth, your story I definitely empathize with. I was pregnant at 37 purposefully. I had been trying to get pregnant for a couple of years, and it just wasn't happening. And I know that it wasn't happening because I tried with the wrong person before I tried with the right person, and it didn't work until I got with the right person. But I went into labor at 14 weeks,
Mm.
and I was told, I had asked, a couple of my girlfriends and stuff. I was like, ooh, I got these cramps in my hips. And they told me, oh, you just having Braxton Hicks pains. You're
Mm.
small, so you're spreading. Well, I went to my regular doctor's appointment. He told me to get dressed, and he said that I needed emergency surgery. They gave me a
Mm.
surclause to sew my cervix up, and I spent 7 months on bed rest. Through
Wow.
that 7 months, it gave me a lot of time to reevaluate my life because I was bedridden. I had stitches in my woo-ha, which don't
Mhm.
feel good. I found myself on heart medicine. Heart medicine helps control contractions, but they were also afraid because I was having contractions for 7 months that
Mm.
I was going to end up having a stroke or a heart attack. Then I found myself on steroids because, like you said, you had your poor little ones and their lungs weren't developed, so they can't breathe on their own.
Right.
So they instantly put me on hormone treatments where I was having these shots in my butt every week to develop her hormones. So I have pop marks on my booty now like a stripper, but they're so worth it. I'm just being blatantly honest with my journey because this is something that people don't talk about.
Absolutely.
I was so blessed that my daughter was born healthy, happy, and safe one day before her due date. She came out perfect, but it was a struggle all the way through. She had wrapped herself around the umbilical cord. We lost her heartbeat. I had an emergency C-section. It was a traumatic 7 months of my life. But through that 7 months, I had a really good friend come to me, and he said, your life needs to change. Who did not come visit you? Who did not offer to feed you, knowing that you could not get out of bed? And how many of those people have you fed? Yes. And I was like, wow. My mother was there. My daughter's father was there. My uncle was there. And my brother was there.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple friends come visit me, and that's it. But it came from a village of people where I was constantly surrounded by a lot of people who supposedly loved me and cared about me and blah, 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 who never even called to see if I was okay. So after my daughter was born, there was a huge purge because that mentor sat with me while I was pregnant, and he'd been part of my life for a very long time, and he said, sweetie, I want you to understand the 5 closest people to you is who you become.
Yes.
So do you want to be this person? And he started naming people, and I was like, oh, hell no. You know?
Right. Like, no
right.
thanks.
And after my baby was born, everything about me changed. My phone number changed. My address changed. My whole life changed. And the people that there are several people that are still around me, you know, who have been around me my whole life, my best friends, you know, some family, but even family got purged. So I started looking at everybody with intention, which I had never done before in my life. I had just loved people for, you know, for them. But then everybody now has become purposeful. Not that I want to use them, but purposeful about their energy. You know how there's certain people around you, when they come around, your energy goes, here goes this phone call. I don't have that in my life anymore. I let all that go.
You and I both. I do not have the time.
Yes, I do
or
not
the patience.
have the time. No, and it changes everything about your being. So I would say, you know, in my 20s and 30s, I did not understand living my life purposefully. But now I live my life purposefully and only invite the energy into my realm that feeds me, not drains me.
Right.
That was a huge lesson for me.
Well, it's necessary too, because once you take that step back, I feel like a lot of people are on a hamster wheel and they just want to get off, but they don't know what that looks like or what that feels like once you step off. You're so used to hamster wheeling it. You're like, what do I do? What do I do when I step off? And that step back is really life-changing. There's a patience that you learn, but which can be uncomfortable, but there's a peace that you earn, which just blankets any trouble, pain, anything. It just helps you nestle in and grow. But without that peace, obviously, is going to be torture. So, but you do gain that peace, and it leads you, that peace and that quiet time. Even if you're still working, if you're still going, you have your day-to-day, but you're taking out things that distracted you, full on, just take it out day-to-day, you're going to come up with something. Something's going to come up, and it could be a business. It could be something small, a little group, a women's group, or, any kind of thing, and you're going to realize, I need to feed that, and that which I feed is going to grow and feed me. It's like planting. I'm trying to plant little tomato plants in my apartment, and it's going to feed me. I'm going to invest water and, plant food into it and take care of it and do what I can, and it's going to feed me. So it's like that. And so you told me a little bit about your keeping it all natural. Is that something
Yes.
that came out of your spa? Is that something that came out of your quiet time, or did you have that before?
So my business partner came up with keeping it all natural with the name, but a lot of what I live in Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of it is the fake boobs, the fake butt, the nose jobs, the eye surgeries, the lip injections. And people always tell me, "Oh my God, Cherie, you look so young. How do you do it?" Well, I kind of just keep it all natural. Like all my parts I was born with. I don't even
Mhm.
have fake nails, and I drink a lot of water, and I eat well. I am a
Right.
certified nutritionist, and I have been for 20 years. They say the way you look, it's 80% of what you eat and 20% of physical activity. A lot of people will go to the gym, but then they leave it and they go eat a whole pizza and a burger. And they're like, I'll work it off in the gym tomorrow.
Right.
Well,
Impossible.
that's great. Right, but that's the hamster wheel. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where you can help actually do more in the gym if you would have just ate some fruits and vegetables instead of the burger. And I'm not saying a burger is wrong, but a lot of people eat like that 7 days a week. I eat burgers, I eat tacos, and I eat pizza, but it might be 1 or 2 days a week, not
Right.
7.
Right. Right.
So there's a balance, and that's where keeping it all natural came from. And because, unfortunately, our community, we are not educated when it comes to food or the way we eat. What people don't realize is they say, diabetes runs in the family. No, it doesn't. What you eat runs in the family. Your eating
Right.
habits is what runs in the family, and that's why cancer is hereditary, because so is what you're
Right.
eating. And so we wanted to try to stop that process. And through that, we opened up a spa, which is in Belle Harbor, Miami, in Florida.
Okay.
And it is Keon, which stands for Keeping It All Natural. And we do all of the spa things that you would get anywhere else, including non-invasive plastic surgeries with a machine called the iCoon one. It's kind of lasery, but there's no rehab time because it's not invasive, which means we don't hurt you.
Is it like the warming laser?
If you ever seen there's yes, the warming laser. There's a cool laser, the cool sculpting. It's
Mhm.
kind of like
Yeah.
cool sculpting without the mess. There's no gels or suction cups and weird stuff like that.
Mm. I did get the I don't know why I can't think of what it's called, but it's the warming one, and it really helps. And I got it once. I got it in 2 sessions because I was finding that, the midsection was not moving like the rest of the body, and I had
Absolutely.
been working out, losing weight, getting it together, but that age gets to you. Like I said, I'm 35. I'll be 36 in September, and the stomach just
Oh, the
does not
hormones.
want to comply.
The
And I
hormones
said, "Excuse you,
change.
ma'am." Right? Excuse you, ma'am. No, no, that's not going to work. So I did try that, and it does work. It's not invasive, not invasive at all. You just keep going to the gym, and it'll work. Your midsection or wherever you put it will go down like it used to go down when you were younger and you were trying to lose the weight all at once.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's where Keon came from. I just want to encourage women to love themselves for who they are instead of constantly trying to change themselves.
I suppose I'm big on that for sure. I I like I spoke about a little bit my story with just loving myself is a newer story over the past 10 years or so. I've been single. I've been just learning about myself and loving myself, who I am as a woman, who I am outside of my family's home, in my own, as my own head of household, who I am. And I came across your book, Stupid Guy's Diary, and and it talked about the dating life. And I was telling you a little earlier, like the first Dear Diary story smacked me in my face. I said, did she see my diary? Did she was she there? Because yes, I feel literally like I said, 10 years, and I am intentional about looking to be available to marry and have a family and have children still.
Oh.
And so I'm intentional about who I date and how I date. I'm not sure the men out here are as intentional, because the stories are just like, I was saying that you have the added people know you from TV, so I'm sure that made it even harder. But you can just be nobody has seen you, nobody knows, and they're not any better. They're not any better. But
it's a big game for, I think, most men.
Mhm.
It's a big game, and it's like going to a buffet. How much can I eat till I get sick?
So what would you knowing where you are now and no longer being in that space, right?
Yes,
what would you
thank God.
say listen, I'm thanking God for you, because believe me, somebody take me with you, please. What would you say to women like me, or just women who are really, now I know some women out here playing games, and that's terrible, because you're messing it up for the rest of us. But that's fine. Do what you got to do, because But what would you say for women like me and other women who are really being intentional about what they want in their life and who they want in their life, and maybe not coming up to it yet?
The first thing I would tell my sisters, stop moving to Atlanta. You don't look for men in Atlanta or Los Angeles, okay, because it's a whole different mindset. The second thing I would tell my sisters is, don't look for a man to make you complete. You have to be complete within yourself before anyone else can bring you happiness. You don't look for a mate to be happy either. You don't put your emotional you have to learn to be emotionally intelligent. I guess that's what I'm saying, because energy transfers.
Yes.
And his bad day does not mean that you have to have a bad day too, and that doesn't make you empathetic. Like, my man has bad days, and I feel bad for him, and I will sit with him, and we can try to figure out how to make tomorrow better, but that is his bad day and his emotions to own. The only person who owns your emotions are you. So you're not going to find your husband until you're emotionally intelligent. You're not going to find your husband until you're complete within yourself, because nobody can complete you.
Yes.
Those are things that I did not know when I was younger. I also did not understand the P's. My brother taught me this. I grew up with a whole bunch of boys, thank God. My brother said it's a man's job to provide, profess, and protect. And a lot of people get really irritated when I say the P's, because providing, it's not a man's job to pay for everything. That, if you obviously have not lived your life around some real men, because if you did, that's not the first place your mind would go. Providing is support. Providing is emotional. Providing is protection, sometimes against oneself.
Yes.
A man that loves you will protect you from the evil within himself. So professing, of course, every woman wants to sit with a man who makes them laugh, who makes them feel good, but also one who can teach them something. I'd never want to be the smartest person in the room. So I feel that women need to try to date up. And dating up doesn't mean like a money come up, but date up with a man who's more educated than you. Date up with a man who knows something about a subject that you're interested in learning.
Yes.
And then protection, like I said, it goes with providing. It doesn't always have to be physical. I'm not saying you have to go to war. I'm not saying because this man stepped on my feet, I want you to jump up and punch him in the face. That's not protection.
No.
Protection is making sure I'm okay. Protection is making sure I have enough gas to get where I'm going, not necessarily that you have to pay for it, but get out and pump it.
Right.
Protection is protecting me against your bad days, being man enough to be able to communicate and say, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm not in the right mind right now. I need a couple hours to myself. Because until a man is emotionally intelligent, he doesn't even know that he needs to do that.
Right.
So you have to get balanced and emotionally intelligent and stable and complete within yourself to find your equal. And I think that's what people mean when they say find their equal, because I always hear, oh, actors only date actors or entertainers because you think that's your equal. You're shallow. You don't understand life yet. That's what I think when I hear people say that.
Right. Right. And
Because
it's true.
finding
I agree with you, especially on the finding somebody who knows more, who understands, who's emotionally and mentally equipped to help you grow. There's things that you're going to know and that you're able to do that he's not going to. And that's accepted for women, but when it comes to the other way around, for some reason, women just accept, not all women, but some women just accept a man who has nothing to offer her except for his presence. And I grew up as a dad's girl. When I was 12 years old, my mother passed away from breast cancer, so it was me and him for a long while. And he let me know, when I got to the age of, boyfriend or this or that. Well, I'm 35 and I can't say the word boyfriend to my father. He's like, oh, that's disgusting. That's American. He's from Africa, so that's American stuff. I'm like, okay, so I get a boyfriend when I get married. He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, then.
Yes.
Well, good luck to me then. But he always told me every man is a male, but every male is not a man.
It's not a man. He's right. Your dad is 100% correct.
All right. So we had to, you look, and also the other thing is, like, a lot of women are really groomed to look within and grow and become whole, before you find your mate. But I don't know if men have been groomed to do that as much.
What I've noticed, I'm going to give you a secret that men don't necessarily tell people. Men don't marry the women who give them the best sex, that they have the most time with. Men marry women who bring them stability and who they feel comfortable with, who they feel that they can let down their guard with. And it's not about the woman. It's about the timing. Men are less interested in the woman that they marry than they are about when they're ready to get married.
Mm.
And that's where the settling comes from.
Right.
Marry a decent face and someone who can give you a pleasant home. So that booty that you just got implanted ain't going to help you catch no husband, baby.
No, sweetie.
But the peace of mind that you bring him will. And he has to be ready.
Right.
I just had a conversation with one of my friends, and he's been saying for a couple of years he's ready to get married, whatever, but he was kind of a player, you know what I'm saying? And we kind of laughed it off. But he's to the point now where he's like, it's her or her. I'm like, well, wait, how do you have two? And he's like, well, I really want her, but I don't think that she believes me, and I don't think that she's ready, so I'm going to go with her because she's been there for 10 years. So he is going to go with the one, and he hasn't yet to propose, but the one who has brought him emotional stability for 10 years.
Wow.
It's not necessarily the one that he loves.
Right.
It's about the timing.
That makes sense.
Where I have another friend who's in the middle of a divorce because he also did not marry the one he loved. The one that he loved, he felt wasn't ready, But there was this other one who was there. She was available. She was cute, and she was fun, and he felt like he could build a life with her because she made him feel good. So he married her, and now many, many years later, he is going through divorce, and he is back trying to get the one that he loved.
I do see that with a lot of men and women too, but I do see that, we kind of just like, well, the one I really really want isn't really ready, so I'm just going to choose the other one who's been around. Maybe choosing neither is fine. Maybe choosing neither is better for that moment, but especially as a woman, I can't speak for men thoroughly, but we have the biological clock going on, so a lot of women make
Right.
that decision really rashly. But for men, that's a good
Don't,
insight because don't.
yeah, ladies, don't settle because that clock is ticking. Don't. I'm the
Yeah.
first one, and this isn't for everybody, but it used to be a different time when you had to have kids at a certain age, and you had to be married by a certain age. Those days are over. We have women 48, 45 having children. It's
Multiple
okay.
children.
Yes, multiple children. Don't rush that clock. Don't feel that you're in a rush and you have to do things now.
Right. Right.
I'm sitting here
So
shaking my
true.
head. I forgot y'all can't see me.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But yes, it's true. What you're saying is all 1,000,000% true. It's like I said, I'm about to be 36, and I am repulsed at the thought of settling with somebody who I know. I know that I know that I know. 90 days out of 100, he's going to get on my nerves. That's not necessary. Like, I don't need to be married that bad. I don't need to have children right now that bad. And what's for me is going to be for me. But that came with
Absolutely. you
a lot of self-talk and a lot of learning how to talk to myself, self-talk, properly. Because there's a lot of self-talk that I used to have. It did nothing for me. It didn't feed me. It didn't bring life to me. You have to speak life into yourself. And I spoke a lot of life into me, and I'm not going to accept anybody who's not speaking equal or more life. Because I know I
As
have a lot of
women,
life to speak into others.
yeah, as women, we spend a lot of time harboring, what did I do wrong? Guilt. We want to take the blame for things that we don't need to take the blame for. We live in a society where, unfortunately, men don't hold themselves accountable, right?
Mm.
So there's a large percentage of men who will never be like, oh, I made this mistake. They just say, oh, she's crazy. That's why we didn't work out. If you talk to anybody's ex, the first thing that men say is, she crazy. I know a bunch of
Yes,
mine going to call me crazy, and some of them have the right to. But it's
absolutely.
not necessarily that women are crazy. You made her crazy, bro. Like, take
Yes.
accountability. And I think one of the biggest things, and I'm not a movie watcher, and I don't read those like self-help book things, but that movie, He's Just Not That Into You, was the greatest thing I think could help make it plain for women. I
Right.
think we just have to come to a point and be like, yo, sis, that wasn't your one. That's why it didn't work. It wasn't
And that's
because you
it.
did this instead of this. It wasn't because he did this instead of this. He wasn't supposed to work. That's not your one.
That's it. Plain and simple. And that's okay. You got to put that's
Yeah,
okay on the end of it because they just like, but why? But I love him. You love your dad. You love your uncle, but you're not marrying him. That's not your husband. And that's okay.
right. And
Love him from afar.
I think another thing that gets us twisted as young women, we're like, oh, I love him. Yes, sis, you love him, but are you in love with him? Because those are two different
Right.
things. You can love
Right.
multiple ones at the same time. I know there was a time in my life where I was in love every other week. And some of those men right now I still love till this day. But I was not
Right.
in love with them. They were not my one. It's different.
Right.
Just because you feel like, oh, my God, I'll never live without him. Guess what, sis? It's been 5 years and he ain't been in your life and you still living.
It's going to be a good 5 days, honey, and you're still going to be alive. It's going to be a good 5 months, 5 weeks, and you're going to be all right, and you're going to feel better. You don't have to wait
Yes,
5 years either. You'll be all
right.
right.
once you
You'll be all
understand
right.
that that's just not your one, you can move on without asking yourself all those questions of what went wrong, why, how, and what could I have done differently.
Right.
It's just not your
Right.
one, sis. And it's okay. Like you said, it's okay. But that comes with
Okay.
emotional intelligence.
Right. It does. And it comes with patience and understanding that it's okay to be on your own too. It's okay to be single. Single is not does not have to equate to loneliness. It doesn't have to. A lot of
No.
people feel like they're lame or whatever. No. First of all, I just feel like you 45 talk about my new boyfriend, sir. I mean, ma'am. It's okay
Sit
for him to
down.
just be your friend. For
Right.
because
Yes.
you gotta
I'm
have
about to
one
be
more. You
45
can't
years
just have a
old.
man around. Right.
Yes,
Mhm.
and there is nothing like peace. There's no price on peace.
Right.
And it's
Right.
better to be single and full of peace than in a relationship that's full of chaos and mentally unhealthy.
My father says that to me every time too. I'm like, Dad, so I don't know about this marriage thing. I don't know if it's gonna happen for me. He's like, well, it's better to be sitting by yourself and doing what you want than to be in a bad place with a person who doesn't deserve you. I'm like, all right, Dad, that wasn't the answer, but it's fine. It's fine. But it is the answer. It is the answer. It's true. It's
It
the
is.
answer.
He'll come when you least expect it. And what you might not know is he might already be there. Mine told me when I was 18 years old, you're never going to find anybody better. And instead of me listening, what I did is I took it as a challenge. I was like, oh, you think so, huh? Watch this.
Right.
I ain't fool nobody
Right.
but myself.
Right. Right. Right, it's true because you see them and you're like, oh, Barack Obama's taken. Dang, that was
Right,
better. That was it. you
right,
know? Shucks. It's true. It's true.
right.
I understand what you're saying.
And so he could be right under your nose. You might see him every single day, and you might not pay him no attention. But God's not going to let you see him until you and him are ready.
That's right.
Don't
That's
stress
right.
it.
That's
It's not a
right.
woman's job.
Exactly.
First of all, it's
That's
not a
right.
woman's job to search for a man. It's a man's job.
Right.
Because
Right.
and that's another thing that women don't understand. Oh, what do I have to do to get his attention? Sis, nothing. If he wants you, he's going to come
Not a
get
thing.
you. And if he don't come get
Absolutely.
you, that's not for you.
Correct. Correct. And it's okay to have those things in your heart and to have those desires of your heart. There are things that people have and they are desires of their heart, and they don't come the way you think they're going to come every time, but they come and
Yes,
they are much appreciated once they get there. It is true.
yes.
They are much
And
appreciated.
I can't wait for you to call me back when yours comes. Because you're going to be like, yo, you told me.
Then we're gonna know. It's gonna be up on a blimp or something. Everybody gonna see it. It's true. I'm gonna let you know. I will for sure let you know. So, um, I did. We're coming to the end of our time. I don't want to hold you all day long. So I wanted to ask you what's coming up next. Well, I want to say that I learned of you obviously I was born in 1984, so I was late to the party. I learned of you from Family Matters, which I enjoyed with my family watching. But
Thank
you were in Punky Brewster.
Yes, ma'am. And Punky Brewster is coming back. There is a reboot. Whenever COVID is over and we are no longer grounded, they are going to let us
Uh-huh.
go back to work and shoot the reboot. And Soleil and I are so excited.
Wow, can you tell me a little bit about it? What's what like? Is there anything that you could tell us about it?
I was going to say, I don't know if you know the story of Punky, because I know we're being reintroduced to a whole new generation, but Punky was a little girl who was abandoned by her mother in a shopping center when she was a young child. Now, Punky is all grown up, and she is raising her own children, going through a divorce, and trying to figure out how to co-parent with her ex, which is a lot of women will be able to relate to this, and Cherie is her best friend, me, who has been her best friend from day one. The chemistry and the relationship is there. She's been my friend since I was 6 years old. She was 5. We've literally grown up together and gone through trials and tribulations of life. You'll get to learn about Cherie's life and love and relationship. I am in a more stable relationship. I am in love. And, raising these kids and work and just the dynamics of, a really diverse, beautiful cast full of love. I can say that.
Awesome. So we should look forward to that. I know coronavirus is in the way of everything. I don't understand.
Everything.
Go away.
I have been grounded since March 10th.
Me
That's
too,
time to be grounded.
Yes. In the house. Bored in the house. For real.
That's what I'm at. We doing a bid together, homegirl.
I'm in here writing a book. I'm in here starting podcasts. I'm in here. I'm doing everything that I couldn't do because, like I said,
beautiful.
That's the way you have to do it. I believe that's the way you have to do it. You get the time. I always end up working 7 days a week because I'll always have a second job. Because, like I said, I have things on my mind. I have things on my I make a vision board every year, and I just go down the list of goals and knock them down. So this one was to, clear off debt, put the credit score up, and rack up money and save it up for the things that I want to do for next year.
Exactly. And, manifestation.
Corona.
I'm a huge fan of manifestation. Corona is the perfect time to manifest everything you want. I've been in the house doing the same thing. I'm doing my podcast, my spa. They let us open and they close us. Then they let us open. Now we're sitting here wondering if they're going to close us again. We don't know what's going on. But it's given me time to reevaluate my life and everything that's going on in my life. I've rebranded my hair products, which should be out by August.
Oh. Let me know more about that when everything is set, and I'll post it up and everything. So send me info about it or anything like that.
Thank you so much. We'll make sure we send you some stuff. We've got shampoo, conditioner, a hair freshener, which is hair oil. It's a growth agent. It's been on the market for like 10 years, but this is giving me a time to really sit back, rebrand it, and give it the push that it deserved the first time around because it never really got that.
Yes, that's what they said. Before 2020 came, they were like, "It's 2020 vision." And then when we got shut down, people were like, I guess it's a bust." No, it's literally 2020 vision. Like we spoke about in the beginning of the, more to the beginning of the podcast. That quiet time is the time to really dig in and get things done that you've been wanting to do. So this is the time. This is the time to rebrand your life, rebrand your thinking, all of it. So
everything. So if you're in Miami, come visit us. We are in Bell Harbor off of Collins. We're called Keon, which stands for Keeping It All Natural. You can find out everything that's going on with me, though, at therealcherie.com.
Okay, and I'll make sure I put all your info in the description box and everything like that. So everybody has everything.
Thank
you. Get in contact with you. I want to thank you again for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. And I thank you for the uplifting conversation because a lot of women, we need it. We need it. And a lot of women who have found the things that they want, they need a refresher. They need to, be revitalized. So that's what I felt like this conversation did.
Well, thank you, because you got me away from my family, and I got to have adult conversation without cooking someone to eat or getting someone something that they lost. So I appreciate you, too.
Anytime. I'm sure in the future, if that was where I am, I'm going to look to friends and to people to do that, too. Please call me, girl, and help me. I want to get away from these children. So I'm sure you appreciate that, and I appreciate it. I'm glad I could be of help.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you, Cherie. You do the same.